appear thrilled about the budget. How can you succeed in turning Canada into an energy superpower when the budget didn't provide any of the 5 relief measures that the sector had asked for in its Build Canada Now letter earlier this year?
Well, I'm not sure I totally recognize that characterization, if I may. The first is, let's look at Canada's position as an energy superpower, and let me generalize it. If you're a superpower, you're able to do more than one thing, and Canada can do many things in energy. We have our electricity grid is 85% clean. That's because of hydro. It's because of nuclear, other renewable power. We have an enormous opportunity to scale up that clean grid. I met with Premier Holt, as you may know, this morning. We spent a lot of time talking about how New Brunswick can help be part of the solution for that, whether that's more nuclear, whether that's interties with more clean power that's coming from other provinces, Quebec, potentially Nova Scotia, and just linking in together. So there's a huge element. What's in the budget for that? Enormous incentives in order for that to move. Clean energy tax credit confirmed in the budget. I won't go into all the details, but something called the super productivity deduction, which is additive. You stack these on top of them. It's enormous incentives for that to move forward. The second point, and I'm just going to talk about, you can do more than one thing, and then I should hand to your colleague for his question, is in conventional energy. Back in June, this country shipped our first LNG shipment to Asia. We will ship 50 million tons to Asia by the end of this decade, and potentially double that again. And part of what's happening with the major projects is we are making that possible. We're making the speed with which we can do that possible, and we're doing it in a way with the companies, obviously, with Indigenous partners who are full partners in all these projects, in a way that's sustainable. So the emissions of these projects are in the top quartile, so or the top decile, so amongst the lowest emissions for the actual production and transportation of that LNG in the world. So that's how we're moving forward, and we're making all of that. We're making all of that possible. So the investment is large scale, and we're moving forward. Thank you.
I'll go to Cory first on this.
Well, he just outright dodged it. The real question, and it keeps coming out, is oil. Can we ship our oil?
Right.
And it's going to be impossible to ship that oil if you don't get rid of C-69 and you don't get rid of the tanker ban. I mean, at the very least. As well, I mean, you got that investment chill of the emissions cap that they say they might remove as long as you take on a whole bunch of other things that are going to mess with your industry and make it non-viable. So he's got a big announcement coming tomorrow in Prince Rupert. It sounds like it's going to be an expansion of LNG. Hey, that's good. I want to see more of it, but we need to move the oil, and he won't answer the question. The reality is it's because he's not going to move it. That hasn't changed. That's right. And the ball now is in Premier Smith's court because she drew a lot of lines in the sand, and Grey Cup is approaching. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, she's been talking optimistically like there's a big announcement coming too. So maybe they're keeping something in the bag, but I can't see anything happening if they don't get rid of those pieces of legislation that choke off all private investment or ability to get an oil pipeline to the coast.
Stockwell.
Yeah, 100% right. Right at the start of the Prime Minister's comment, I wrote something down. I've never quite heard this before, this phrase, but he was asked, the reporter quite rightly said, well, you said this. And the reporter really held him to account. So rather than him saying, no, I didn't say that, I wrote it down. I was fascinated by this response. I'll use it in the future. When you're challenged on something and you don't want to say, I didn't say that, he said, I don't totally recognize that characterization. So I'm going to remember, I can remember that little phrase when I'm late getting home and my wife's wondering,
right.
You said you'd be here at 6 and I got home at 7. I'm going to say, I don't totally recognize that characterization. Having said that, this is all, I hate to use the word obfuscation. That oil that he's talking about, or the refined product, whatever it is, it could be LNG, I believe, was almost 20 years to get that to Tidewater because of liberal regulation, because of lack of realization that there are First Nations groups who do want to see these projects go ahead. That was a multi-billion-dollar, multi-year delay. we have capable in Canada with our LNG alone, and as Cory was saying, with refined oil products, we have the ability to see China drastically reduce its reliance on coal. We have the ability to see India drastically reduce, and a lot of viewers may not realize this, their reliance on cow dung, I say that again, cow dung, as a source of energy and as a source of heating, which is incredibly unhealthy, plus hard on the environment. We could be helping in that regard. We could be helping European countries break the stranglehold that Putin has on Europe by being the main source of energy sales, selling his oil, his LNG. So here we've got European countries funding Putin to slaughter Ukrainians. And if we would clear up our regulatory process and get beyond the extreme left in the Liberal Party, who's saying all of this natural gas should be shut in, we could really see significant reductions in emissions around the world, booming economies in Canada, wonderful opportunities for First Nations groups, and I work with a number of these who get 51% of the projects. So everything the Prime Minister said is denying the fact that he and his government are slowing down and trying to eliminate the production of clean fossil fuels that would lower emissions around the world and make Canada a prosperous place.
Lise, I know that every time Mark Carney says nuclear, you hear Brookfield.
This is so he talks about enormous incentives that are going to come out of his plan for energy, and the truth is he's not going to invest in ONG when they're already so heavily invested in nuclear and hydro. So Brookfield Renewable Partners has significant presence in North America, mainly out in Maine, in Tennessee, in Quebec. Brookfield operates through its subsidiary, Evolugen, and has agreements with Hydro-Quebec to purchase power. They're also involved in Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and globally in Brazil and Europe. And here's what it comes down to. They have no reason to invest in our Western oil and gas when all of the incentives point back to Brookfield. When Mark Carney opens his mouth, all you have to do is Google the last word he said plus the word Brookfield, and you will see
Westinghouse.
the conflicts of interest. He talks about nuclear without divulging that Brookfield and Cameco bought Westinghouse Nuclear. Saskatchewan just signed an $80 billion deal with the Americans via Brookfield. I mean, that this is happening, that Mark Carney is lining the pockets of his friends with North American energy projects should be something that we should all be looking very, very closely at. Because of course we want our product to go to Asia. Of course we want our product to go to Europe, but it's not gonna, because Brookfield has no way to profiteer off of it.
What was it? I'm not remembering that characterization. Is that what he said?
I do not recognize that characterization.
Right. Next time I'm scolded for bringing home yet another pair of cowboy boots, I'm going to say I'm not recognizing this characterization.
At first, it was extremely painful to realize that my daughter and we weren't stable. Without reaching out for help, I don't know where we would have ended up. The day that I started realizing that I feel really good about my position in life, I came in with my shoulders rolled back, my chin up, and it was just like I did this.